What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back for the My Team Journey, episode number 14 for the Dutch Grand Prix. Let's see if Max Verstappen can be the hero of today, or are we going to spoil the party again? We seem to do really well around the really high downforce circuits. However, if we don't do well, we don't qualify well, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. This is one of the hardest tracks to overtake on the entire calendar, so qualifying is of utmost importance. So we're going to go full send in qualifying and yeah, just go full ham on the high downforce setup. We'll deal with the consequences in the race, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, particularly if there will be more weather. Speaking of that, make sure you check out the previous episode. If you haven't seen it already, the Belgian Grand Prix was absolutely incredible. It was a throwback to the 2013 Malaysian Grand Prix in career mode. And I don't think I should say any further than that. If you know, you know. Anyway, heading into this race, we have some resource points to spend. We had 1,000. We put some resources into improving the turbo durability. We're now heading into a summer break. So weird to have the break. What feels like so late in the season. We've done so many races now at this point. I want to say like 13 races. It's been absolutely ridiculous. And now we head to, yeah, the second half of the season finally. Devon is getting settled into the team. Hopefully he can improve his performance. Unfortunately, a major failure there for the rear downforce. The Halo upgrades is not going to make it on for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's going to be on for Monza at best. So that's a significant blow. We need all the downforce we can get heading into this race because, yeah, this is probably the most high downforce track on the calendar. Literally every corner is a medium or a high-speed corner. So to be successful here, much like in Hungary, you got to crank on all the downforce that you have available. We're going to fast forward time. We do get the front wing downforce upgrade on, so thankfully that will be a good step in the right direction. Finally, we're starting to get some momentum. I feel like we've had a lot of failures lately. But yeah, front downforce, probably more so key than the rear downforce. Rear downforce certainly helps, but front is definitely what gives you your pace, especially heading into a circuit like this where you got to crank on all the downforce in the world. Anyway, here's the update on the performance index, and you can see the results trend at the bottom of the screen as well. We are 5th best car. Everyone's still upgrading, keeping up a really good pace. Haas keeping us honest as well. Championship standings, 60-odd points shy of Sergio Perez. You know, we still would be a little bit closer if not for that win taken away from us in Hungary. But still, I digress. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. I really hope that... this is a weird hope. I hope that we actually don't become a championship threat. Or we don't come within, say, 15 points of winning the driver's title. Because then it would come down to the red flag glitch costing us a championship. But yeah, it's been so spicy this season. I really liked you know, all the memorable moments. It's certainly been one for the ages. And it's season 1. It's so different compared to every other game. I mean, we can fault F1 23 all we like for maybe it being a little easier than in previous games, but it's given us an incredible storyline to start off with in this first season of career mode. Anyway, we got the resource points coming in. 2.7k is absolutely nuts. Plus all the discounts we got from all the practice programs that we did as well. So that's going to mean that things like this front downforce upgrade, which we're cranking on now, and also a future weight reduction upgrade is also discounted. So that'll go on for the Japanese Grand Prix. I'm currently weighing up whether to do it or not. What have we got else on the pipeline? ERS upgrade. I could probably do with some ERS, but we're limited. We can't do anything on that facility side because we can only do one upgrade at a time on the engine side. Really annoying. We need the cash. We've got an abundance of resource points, but nothing to spend on facilities. Time for quali. Here we go for qualifying then for the Dutch Grand Prix, getting ready to send the car out and see if we can get out of Q1. Hopefully Devon can join us as well. Ideally we want to get out of here with just the one set of soft compound tires, but I don't think that's the case. This looks like our second run. Devon actually ahead of us after our first set of laps. And yeah, we're going out again to see if we can better our time. But yeah, it doesn't look like the overall pace is coming to us as naturally as what it was in Hungary, for example. I think relatively speaking to the race leaders, we were a little bit closer to them in terms of car performance. Opening the DRS a little bit late there out of the last corner. I think that DRS zone needs to be adjusted. We go P7, and that is just about good enough to get us through to qualifying 2. Again, Devon misses out. P20. Seems to be getting a little bit too comfortable in that position, but half a second off. It's not. It is a decent margin, but half a second off, and your P20 is a bit harsh. He just needs to get his act together, get a little bit more confident with his car. We will do our best to work on the facilities, work on the simulator, and pace will come a little bit more naturally to him. Thankfully, we've gone for the softer compound strategy in terms of the tires this weekend, so we have more chances in qualifying to really get it right. So the fact that we use 2 sets of softs in Q1, I suppose, doesn't really hold us back all too much. So luckily, it's not going to impact our weekend too much, but it will impact our weekend if we can't make the soft medium or soft hard work to get to the end of the Grand Prix. This is qualifying 3 now. We're currently in P7. 2.5 tenths up on our previous best, running through the middle sector now. Tire temps are always very questionable as we run through here. Try and get the nose in nice and early on the power. Get over to the left now as we sweep through this last left-hander in the middle sector. On the power nice and early. Open the DRS. Brake bias is really far rearward for this racetrack. We can get away with a lot of rear brake to rotate the car. There's not too many heavy braking zones which will catch us out with running a more rearwards bias, I'd say. Through the second last corner, the rotation is actually quite amazing through there. The amount of speed we carry through that penultimate corner is absolutely nuts. You do a couple of quick downshifts and you're on the power flat out pretty much straight away. But that was our lap. Good enough for P2. However, the AI are still out there circulating and putting in their times. At the end, we get demoted to P5. So yeah, that was qualifying. It was initially me and Charles Leclerc on the front row of the grid. Then Perez, Hamilton, and Russell storm in to put in their good times on new tires. So P6, I can't complain about that, really. That's pretty good track position for the start of the race. If we're lucky, we might be able to move forward and get some big points there. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. There might even be some grid penalties heading into tomorrow's race as well, which would certainly help our chances if there are, any Ferraris or Red Bulls potentially in trouble reliability-wise. We know that's going to be a factor for us. But not today. We're going to run the best engines pretty much that we have left, and I think either in Spa or Monza, we will certainly be taking... No, we've already run Spa. In Monza, I think we're going to have to run with a brand new engine and take a penalty. But let's go to the race.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Leclerc, Benjamin, Norris, Verstappen, Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Zhou, Albon, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Tsunoda, Butler, De Vries, Sargent, De Vries. And now it's time to head down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, the regulations aren't new anymore, but the teams and the drivers are still coming to terms with them. I firmly believe it's also track specific. We've seen some wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the year. Some tracks lend themselves better to it than others. I'd like to see it at every race in the whole season. Is that too much to ask?
Yes, that is too much to ask. Anyway, welcome to the grid of the Dutch Grand Prix. Starting in P5 then. after a grid penalty for someone else. Crucially ahead of Max Verstappen. The novelty certainly has not worn off, the fact that we are this far up the grid fairly consistently. We are going to do our best to make sure we capitalize on this good start to the race weekend. Soft to medium looks like the default strategy for us. I'm not so sure it's going to be the tire of choice for much of the AI. We're going to try a 2-stop on the strategy predictor here. 7 seconds slower, according to the computer. Maybe we'll just go for the 1-stop. I think track position is super key around here. Overtaking will be hard to come by, especially for us, given that we're probably going to be slower than most others in a straight line. So I'm going to favor track position and try not to have to overtake people. If we can overtake people on strategy, get some clear air on the mediums nice and early, that could be our ticket to getting on the podium or, well, maybe even winning this Grand Prix. How insane would that be? But yeah, I'm not sure many other people have this strategy available to them because we've gone for the softer compound strategy this weekend. So we have a brand new set of softs to use for this race. Many others might not have that luxury. So quite a few others up the grid are on mediums. Everyone from P11 downwards, with the exception of one car, is on the soft. So they've got that fresh tire to use, but the race leaders don't, crucially. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. My guess would be most of them go to hards at the end, but if someone's got really good tire wear, they might be able to make softs work. It'll be risky though. As we get ready for 5 red lights for this Dutch Grand Prix, and we are away in Zandvoort. Another good start, flying past Charles Leclerc on the run into turn 1. Round the outside we go on Sergio Perez. A little bit of a wider line than I would have liked. I was trying to go super deep under brakes and maybe draw alongside Hamilton in the Mercedes, but to no avail. We don't take P2. P3 though, I'll absolutely take at this early stage. We have the advantage on these soft compound tires, so let's see if we can get these guys nice and early while these tires still have their performance benefits. I think these things might, well, potentially overheat. That could be something we need to watch out for. So yeah, tire pressures, we'll make sure that we don't take too much life out of them. So if we can get these guys nice and early and park the bus like we did in Hungary, we'll be absolutely flying. But on the contrary, if we don't have the pace, staying in the DRS will be the objective of these first stint and I guess first 10 laps, because that's around the pit window of when we'll be boxing for mediums, around lap 10, 11, and then the AI will be in from their mediums onto hards not long after that, in all honesty. So the perfect window to get a couple of laps undercut, and it could be a winning strategy. First lap done in the books. George Russell leads from Lewis Hamilton, the two former Mercedes teammates going hammer and tong. Russell doing really well for himself since moving to Ferrari. It's actually proving to be a better move than I thought. But yeah, he's really taken to that car like a duck in water. He's making Leclerc look a bit bad down in P5. He's just been consistently quicker than his teammate right out of the blocks. So, I don't know, don't be surprised if Ferrari look elsewhere for a second driver at the end of this season. We'll have to wait and see. But at this stage, keeping the leaders on us just about. They're not really holding them up. They're not really holding me up. And I'm not exactly faster than them either. We're just kind of maintaining pace. If anything, maybe I am slightly slower than these guys. But a bit of infighting between Hamilton and Russell. A few laps into this race, DRS is now enabled. And I feel like Hamilton's got the pace on Russell. He's just a little bit quicker in a straight line. And he makes that work just about into turn 1. Does he get a better drive traction? No, he has to tuck back in for now. Hamilton still P2 in this Grand Prix. But yeah, we are losing DRS now. This will probably be the last time we get DRS. Perez flies past us in the Red Bull, trying to hang around the outside. Hamilton is making a pass for the lead, by the way. And I think he's going to make that move stick as we see the replay of that happening just up the road here. Russell on the outside, turns to the inside for the next left-hander. Russell retakes the lead, but Hamilton gets the better drive traction round the outside with the better banking, and he takes the lead of this Dutch Grand Prix. What a battle between those two. Right when I thought we were down and out in this race for contesting for the lead, those guys start squabbling and invite me back into it. Defending very hard against Perez here, moving to the inside. I really don't want to fight too much. I need to stay with these guys as much as I can to keep that DRS, to stay close, because we are actually boxing really soon. It's lap 12. Lap 12, so maybe my pit window was a little bit longer than what I first thought it was. That's a big mistake from Hamilton. Too deep into the third sector, locked the inside front, and now Russell is very much all over him, and we've been invited into this fight as well. So this is the closest we've been all race to the race leaders. Might be half a chance of, or might be worth a chance of having to go up the inside of Russell into turn 1. He looks outside, goes to the inside in the end. They're side by side through here. Russell doesn't get the best exit. We go around the outside of him and take P2 out of nowhere on the exit of turn 1. Thank you very much, Russell. Getting tangled up on Hamilton. Forgot about me. And we get P2 in this Dutch Grand Prix. Can we do anything against Hamilton? I didn't think we'd have this pace at the back end of this tyre stint. I really thought we'd be dropping off. I thought the tyres would be overheating and we'd just be fading and fading and fading in this race. But we just about managed to cling on. We kept Perez at bay. Those two started battling. And, yeah, it's really kicked off. It's really opened up for us in this race. Hamilton a little bit slow on the run out of here. We've opted not to go into overtake. If we wanted to, we could have dived up the inside into this right-hander. But that would have left us with no battery. And in a really vulnerable spot. I think Russell probably would have re-overtaken us as well on the next start-finish straight. He's even half a chance of getting in here, having to defend into this right-hander. It has to be done. We're second in the queue. This is exactly where you want to be. We're the first cab off the rank to have a shot at Lewis Hamilton. This first stint was a lot longer than what I thought it was. The pit rejoin position is currently P12, as people are either pitting or we're getting outside of their pit window. So we're extending this stint in the hopes of being able to make the medium work without losing too much tyre life. We're staying in the DRS of the car ahead, which is certainly enabling us to run along in this stint. We're not letting them get away too much, but now is the time. Now is the time to get off these tyres. They're about to fall off the cliff, but also crucially, the AI are about to box as well. So we're going to get a 1 or 2 lap undercut here onto fresh mediums, and by leaving it this late, it means that 1 or 2 lap undercut is even more potent than what it would have been if we boxed a few laps ago. Yellow flag out of there, out of turn 1. It's Lando Norris, who spun halfway through turn 1, is blocking the pit exit. We come around, and Lando just gets out of the way at the perfect time. Oh my word. If we were blocked in the pit lane exit, there's nothing we could have done. If we would have gone over the white line, that would have been a penalty. That would have been a straight-up penalty. That was so fortunate for us to get away scot-free. Also, by the way, if that was a player blocking the pit lane like that, they would have got insta-DQ'd. They would not be in this race anymore. Lando Norris has been allowed to carry on because the rules don't apply to the AI like they do to people. We've clearly seen that in effect now. I've literally seen in many online races, if you spin into the pit lane entry or exit, and someone comes up behind you, either in or out of the pit lane, DQ'd. No questions asked. It's pretty brutal. But Lando got away with that one. Anyway, big undercut from us. We're pushing very hard on this lap. This is a qualifying lap for us now. And yeah, this is for the lead now. These are the leaders coming in. You can see Hamilton. We've got the Ferrari of George Russell, who jumps Hamilton. And who else was in? I think one of the Red Bulls was in. It's Max Verstappen. We're defending from Leclerc, who stopped on the last lap. Round the outside he goes on the hards. And not only are we fighting drivers on track, but off it as well as they rejoin from their pit stop. We have the effective lead of this Dutch Grand Prix. It's not confirmed just yet because Sergio Perez has carried on for an extra lap on the mediums. So we'll just make sure that we're still catching him. That was a horrible mid-corner line from us there. Got on the power way too early. Now exit was dreadful. There goes Leclerc around the outside. He's got the second oldest tyres in this queue. We've got the oldest and on mediums. We're going to have no pace at the back end. So it's crucial that we just stay ahead now and do what we can. Round the outside again goes Leclerc. Perez comes out of the pit lane, but being the last to make a stop, he loses quite a bit of ground relative to those around who stopped earlier. But yeah, also as well, we're running into fuel issues. We had about a lap's worth of fuel spare, and now we're down to 0.2. Still 15 laps to go. So we're going to have to do some pretty heavy fuel-saving measures to get to the end of this Grand Prix. It's all against us here in this race now, but we need a safety car to save the tires, to save the fuel, to save our chances of not getting dive bombed by AI. 15 laps remaining, and this has become an almost impossible mountain to climb. We'll do our best to hold these guys back, but it's not the same as what it was in Hungary. The run out to this last corner is the great equalizer. There's no traction zone for the AI. They go flying past the DRS, bit of contact between myself and George Russell. He takes the lead in the Grand Prix, but I don't think there's anything I can fight back with here. Even at this early stage of the tyres, I think they're all faster than me. We try and have a counter-attacking move up the inside, into the left-hander, into the banking, and Russell had us covered. Yeah, going back to Hungary, it's very similar strategy, very similar scenario to that race. But crucially, in Hungary, there's a big traction zone out of the last corner, and we're better on traction out of slow-speed corners compared to the AI. No slow-speed corner or traction zone out of the last corner here in Zandvoort. We don't have that luxury, so it's really just a massive slipstream fest. There's also the DRS zone is a lot longer than what I think it should be in real life, because you're opening DRS while you're still going through the banking. That's surely not safe, but in the game, it's allowed, and whoever's in second place gets a massive run on the race leader. And without 50 front wing, I think we're running 42, 43 rear wing. We just got no chance. We're like a sailboat going against the currents, against the winds on this straight. Look at this. We've got DRS on the car heads, and still the Ferrari flies past us in such a short straight. A bit of contact there with Leclerc. A bit of marbles on the front right tyre as well. Not ideal. Here comes Leclerc again on the next lap. It's only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time before these guys get me. Slight lift and coast as we went into turn one. Braked super late around the outside, and was just about able to maintain P2. But now, crucially, we have lost DRS. It was already hard enough to maintain track position when we had the DRS, when we had a little bit of slipstream off of Russell. Now it's going to be doubly hard to maintain track position. We still got 10 laps to go, and I've got to do even more fuel saving than what I was prior. I don't think we're going to finish inside the top 5 here. I think we're going to get overtaken by Leclerc, by Perez, by Verstappen, and then from there, I think it's just going to be holding on for dear life to make sure that we don't get overtaken by the Aston Martins, who are then 6-7 seconds back. It's we have gone aggressive here on both the fuel and the tyre strategy to be able to mix it with the AI up until this point. We were kind of hoping on safety cars or the fuel burn to not be this savage, but yeah, we just over-engineered the race a little bit too much. We took too many chances, and unfortunately, things have not gone our way. Bit of a battle here between Leclerc and Perez heading into that right-hander, and invite him to be a little bit closer to us. We might be able to re-overtake Sergio Perez here, if we're lucky, but we don't exactly have a huge amount of fuel to play with this, nor battery to really make it work. We need to be strategic here with our battery and use it more for defense. Oh, Hamilton's in this train as well, P6. So it's not even going to be a top 5 finish. It's going to be probably realistically P6 in this race. We are still losing fuel, even with all the battling that we're doing, even with the lifting and coasting we're doing at the end of straights. Even the DRS. Oh, that's contact! Massive contact between ourselves and Max Verstappen. He's literally just punted us out the way. Hamilton re-overtakes, then we get the better drive traction. We'll go back to live pictures in just a second. But here's the replay between myself and Max. The door was half open, but the door was always going to close. That gap was never there for an overtake. That move was certainly not on from our end. But Max, being the aggressor that he is, went for the dive, realized his rivals were getting away in this race, and went full send. Thankfully, no damage.
Tyre condition still looking good.
And there it is, confirmed by the engineer. No damage on the front wing or the floor. But our job of finishing on the podium just got a lot harder. In fact, it just became outright impossible unless there is a safety car now. Still have DRS on Verstappen, but now the last car we have to defend has just overtaken us. Hamilton moves inside the top 5, and I think from here, let's just focus on getting to the end. Let's make sure we can finish this race with the fuel required to make it to the end without losing any more positions. It'll be an absolute disaster now if we get beaten by Aston Martin. This is probably where we deserve to finish, if I'm honest. We just haven't had the pace of the race leaders. We We got very aggressive. We got very ballsy at the start of the race. Now we're looking to have a move on Max Verstappen because why not? Punching it in overtake up the inside of Max into this very high speed and sweeping right-hander. And we gave him the big argue, the big squeeze heading into there. I think that's a bit of payback for clarting me into a half spin just a few laps ago, giving him a taste of his own medicine. And I'm sure we're going to have some words after this race is finished. 4 laps to go, still ahead of Verstappen. I think at this point, we are just embracing that we are the villain of this race today. Bring it on, why not? We're taking every chance we can get. We don't really deserve to be up here, but we're fighting extra hard to see if we can hold on. If there's a safety car at any point, then our strategy really does come good, but I think at this point we do have to start really saving fuel. Scratch that. Fuel does not need to be saved. The engine has blown, and we are out of the Dutch Grand Prix. Max Verstappen getting a face full of engine smoke, and that is our day done. Unfortunately, we gave it our absolute best shot. We really pushed the limits today. Maybe pushed too far at times, and perhaps a little bit of karma hits us with 3 laps remaining. I think now we can safely say goodbye to our chances of winning a championship in Season 1.
So another excellent win from Ferrari. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout, combined with the track temperatures we saw today, suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
GG's, Ferrari were in complete control today. Leclerc did the undercut and was a bit unlucky not to have the track position to run it home to the end. I guess in summary, the overtaking today came a lot easier than what I expected. That big DRS zone on the start-finish straight really separated a lot of cars. High downforce plus a moderately long straight. Means that the slipstream effect is crazy compared to maybe what it otherwise would be. But George Russell, Leclerc get the 1-2 for Ferrari. They're obviously very happy. Sergio Perez fills out the podium as well, and Max Verstappen only gets P5, beaten to the line by Lewis Hamilton. Lewis was very quick today. I've got to say, he's a bit unlucky to only be 4th place, considering he was leading the Grand Prix at one stage. So yeah, a bit of a missed opportunity for Mercedes. Lando had his spin in front of the pit lane exit and still gets points, P8 with a fastest lap as well. So that backs up the good form that Mercedes had, just wasted that potential. They should have been perhaps in Ferrari's position if they managed their race a little bit better. But yeah, no first page appearance from our teammate Devin Butler. He goes from P20 to P16, 45 seconds off the pace. What's the fastest lap like? It's actually decent compared to those around him. But, yeah, it's very hard to do anything when you're that buried in the pack in terms of track position. If I could control his strategy, give him an undercut, I think he'd finish a lot better in that race. But, yeah, we don't have that control, unfortunately. P6 in the drivers' standings. We lose out points to, unfortunately, Aston Martin in the drivers and in the constructors as well. I think it actually might be very close again. And it is 5 points separating us. After our win in the previous episodes, that lead turns to nothing once again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I see plenty more racing game content. In the next episode, we head to the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, the home of Ferrari and the home of our engine supplier. Hopefully, we can do the Tifosi proud. It's a good circuit for me. I always go really well around there. Suits my driving style, and it suits the car as well. So we'll make sure to be on top form. And yeah, if we're lucky, we might actually be able to contest for top 5 positions again like we were today. So we'll see how we go. But I have a feeling, even with this engine penalty, or engine failure, we're going to lose the components. And as such, we're definitely going to need to take a new engine in Monza. So it's probably going to be a last place or last to first challenge. So that'll be interesting. Either way, I'll stop waffling. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll spend the cash in the next episode, hopefully on some better facilities, some better reliability, and just better everything. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.